welcome. I'm Peggy, and I'm glad you joined us, and I hope you will find a time, sit down and listen for the next few minutes, because this is life-saving information. And anybody who knows me at all knows that I hate tobacco, and I make no qualms about it. I have lost people very dear to me because they were heavy cigarette smokers, and I watched them die. And anything you can do to keep young people from starting to smoke, you've given them life-saving information. And I'm pleased to have two special people here with me today. Emily Harper is here, and Emily is the Youth Prevention and Education Coordinator.
Yes, that's right.
Okay, well, you should do very well. When you walk in a classroom, you're so pretty, everybody's going to look at you. So
Thank you.
That's a plus right there. And of course, my friend Terry Taylor,
Good to be here.
He is tobacco control, and I don't know if it'll ever be controlled. But this is so, you know how I feel about it.
I do.
And I watched my father die of lung cancer, and he was a marvelous man who had started smoking when he was a kid. And in those days, they didn't seem to think anything about it.
That's right.
Now we have information that we know it is life-threatening, it is dangerous. And the tobacco companies are still flourishing.
They certainly are. And when you think back of those days when, like my grandfathers both smoked, used tobacco,
Yeah.
those were days when about half the population smoked.
Yeah.
And most of the rest of the population was in the car with them or in the home with them.
You breathe it.
You breathe along with it. And we know so much more now about primary smoking and about secondhand smoke that we really need to work on focusing on getting the fresh air everywhere.
So if you're riding in a car with someone who's smoking, you might as well smoke. It's
Yes.
about that simple, isn't it?
Yes, you will get the same effect. And the 2006 Surgeon General's report came out addressing that, drawing some conclusions that people who never smoke that are around smokers do get the same illnesses.
All right, now the Greenville Family Partnership. This is just one thing that you do, giving information, life-saving information to people, really.
Correct. We work in community on a lot of issues, but my main focus is on tobacco education and prevention. And that's a broad scope of things to do. We work on getting people off tobacco that are already on it. We work on changing policies. Emily is working on youth prevention, because that is so key. We're a prevention organization, and
Yeah.
if you prevent it from starting, you never have to worry about getting off.
You never have to worry about it. All right, now Emily, what do? Do you go into the schools and talk to kids, or what?
Yes, that is definitely one thing that I do. Greenville Family Partnership, like Terry mentioned, is a prevention organization, and so it's really key to get into the schools and just talk about it, just have an open conversation about it, and let them know the dangers of it, and that if they don't start smoking, then that's really, like you said, life-saving information.
One less thing you have to worry about.
Yes, yeah. And then this summer, our grant that we received, we're going to do a lot of summer programs with children and youth, and just really getting out there while they're out from school and just educating them about this, and hopefully preventing them from even starting.
But you actually can go into the classroom.
Yes, we can.
And talk to, what is it, like junior high age, or what?
We can even start with elementary school. I did one spring break program at a community center, and we had a tobacco prevention program, and I just talked to them about it, and they, seem to know a lot about it, but they did have a lot of questions too. So it's good to start as young as first grade, and then on up into middle school and high school.
So you're doing a great work right there.
Thank you.
Just getting the word out early.
Right, exactly.
So now, how is the Greenville Family Partnership? How are things going with the program that you're trying to do here?
Well, I've been involved with Greenville Family Partnership since 2005. And at that time, South Carolina had no local smoke-free ordinances, none.
We didn't have any ordinances against, I didn't know
No
that.
smoke. We had a Clean Air Act which said you couldn't smoke in the library or in City Hall or in the mayor's office. But You could smoke in restaurants. You could smoke at the workplace. In fact, I worked at a place where people smoked as they worked. So we wanted to change the indoor smoke-free air policies. And the one way to do that is to get local municipalities to pass ordinances to go smoke-free for all workplaces, which includes restaurants and bars. And Greenville was the second one in the state of South Carolina. The first one was Sullivan's Island. 2006, Greenville passed theirs. It was challenged all the way to the Supreme Court.
Oh, I'll bet. Oh, sure.
And it was found that it was legal for a local municipality to pass a law that was more restrictive, broader based than the state law. So we jumped on that roller coaster, and here we are today with we have 61 local ordinances, which represents about 40% of the state's population. So our goal ultimately is we hopefully will influence the state legislature to look at making the state smoke-free across the board in all workplaces.
So, but you've come a long way, really.
Oh, absolutely. When you go from 0 to 61, or your 0 population to 40% of the population lives in smoke-free communities. You know, another big development is in the workplace, because private employers, they're taking a look at the economics. How much does it cost to, health-wise, to cover an employee who smokes? And typically the numbers range between $4,000 and $6,000 more. So they're looking at the bottom line, and they are making workplace changes on their own because of economics. So that's been a big plus too, to help this move along. But you know, you look at these small, if it works for the workplace, it should work for every place where people go to work or visit, or they're enclosed.
Now, of course, a lot of places are smoke-free.
Yes.
Thank God.
In the city of Greenville, all workplaces, restaurants, bars, and stores and workplaces are smoke-free.
So if you want to smoke, you have to go outside.
You have to go outside, and you have to be away from the door or the window.
Yeah. So that was a victory right there.
We are very proud of that, of Greenville having the foresight to be one of the first ones to do that, because a lot of municipalities have followed suit and done their own thing.
Okay, now, and it's very costly. I mean, people who smoke regularly have more illnesses, more, it costs the company they work for more money, right?
Right, and it costs the state, for the uninsured, it costs, you know, approximately about $900 a household to cover that cost of insuring people or treating of tobacco-related illnesses for the uninsured. So every household pays $900 a year for that.
And so you could be a smoke-free household, but you're paying.
We're all paying for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Now tell me, Emily, about your prevention program. And you go into the schools and talk to the classes. Mm-hmm. And what age group do you start your work? At what age do you?
We start with first grade, and then the main schools that we go into are middle schools and junior high.
Okay.
Because that's when, you know, they're transitioning into that age, their teenage years.
They want to be grown up.
Right, yes. And they see these, you know, very impressionable marketing campaigns that, you know, target them and say, you know, this is cool, this is a cool thing to do. And so we try to go in there and be like, it's really, you know, it's not healthy for you, and here's what happens to your body when you smoke. Or like we're going to mention later, the electronic cigarettes, those are a little bit safer, but they're almost just as bad as smoking cigarettes. So we're trying to implement that into our programs, and just, again, just educating them and letting them know the harmful
and the schools welcome you in.
Yes, definitely.
You have no problem with that.
Yes, they call us all the time and schedule programs about tobacco and many other topics as well, but tobacco is still a very big topic in schools.
Well, that's wonderful, so that they're open to this.
Yes.
And what about the kids in the classroom? Do they ask questions?
They do. As they get older, they don't ask as many questions, but definitely when the younger kids, they love, you know, they just want to know everything about it, which is good. We love that, and we encourage that, any kind of questions that they may have.
Okay, and of course, I've never bought a package of cigarettes in my life. So I have no idea, but you're burning money. I don't know how much they cost.
Well,
but
typically if you smoke a pack a day, that's going to cost you about $2,500 a year. And people who are on tobacco, one of the incentives to get off tobacco is, all right, if you can get off tobacco, put that money in a jar, and it will add up over a year's time. Can you use $2,500?
yeah.
That may be an incentive for some people.
Well, I think I should think it would be. Yes.
And one of our other initiatives, our goal is just to raise the price of tobacco even further. It took us about 9 years to raise the cigarette tax by 50 cents a pack, and that last happened in 2010. We haven't had an increase.
So the tobacco tax that you pay when you buy a package of cigarettes is only 50 cents?
57 cents.
57
it was 7,
cents.
and then it went to 57. And the goal by 2017 is to go by another $1. Now, let's compare places that have different taxes. The state of New York has the highest tax. It's over $4 a pack.
Bless their hearts.
When it gets that expensive, guess what happens? The smoking rates go down, especially with young people.
Right.
Yeah.
That they're not going to spend that kind of money. A pack of cigarettes would probably be around $8 a pack. So where are we nationally? Our tax is 57 cents. The national average on tax is $1.69. So you see we lag behind in that, but we're moving ahead, and hopefully we can get this tax up. We're aiming for another $1.
And how do we get that to happen? We have to call our legislators,
Yes.
or what?
You do. That campaign will be educating the public. We're going to have all kind of public forums to talk about all kinds of issues that affect the community. And people wonder, like, well, why do I need to worry about the cigarette tax? I don't smoke. Well, that's going to create revenue. That's going to deter young people from starting to smoke. 90% of the people who smoke started before they were 18.
Yeah.
So that's why it's so crucial the work that Emily's doing, that working with these young kids, you know, they start as young as 11 years old. And that leads to a lifetime of addiction, and it could lead to other addictions as well.
And I guess I've never smoked, so I can't criticize somebody, but it must be very, very difficult to quit.
Well, in our cessation classes that I used to do, they say it's hard as getting off any other drug. They compare it to getting off heroin, those kinds of things. Now, what that sells to me is, yes, it is incredibly difficult. The people have to try 6 or 7 times before they're successful. They could be off tobacco for 10 years, and some tragic, stressful event could bring them right back to using tobacco again. So it is a very difficult addiction to overcome.
And you can save a lot of money if you don't buy cigarettes. It adds up. It adds up. We're going to go to a break. We'll be right back. Stay with us. And we do have information, a phone number to help you. If you or someone you love wants to try to quit, or you want more information, we have it for you.